You think this corrupt-ass U.S. government will ever get around to actually investigating the corruption? Do you think this corrupt, stinking mess of bullshit artists will ever actually drain the swamp? Let's start investigating the falsified, staged insolvency of the Western banks in Houston, Texas. William Barr, Christopher Wray, in your bullshit FBI, in your bullshit Department of Justice. See, this is one thing, folks, that is kind of, eked out here, is how dirty and underhanded the FBI and a lot of state police and county sheriff's offices, they turn these law enforcement agencies into political mafias. Like the Clintons did it, and like the Bushes did it down there in good old Houston, Texas, and how Obama did it, and how this fat, bloviated, pussy-grabbing casino operator's playing it. Sorry, Donald Trump, but you've blown it with me, dude. I mean, I campaigned for you and I voted for you because, you were going to drain the swamp, Don, but all you did was you hired Mnuchin and Sessions and covered up for all the dirty-ass little bankers that finance your damned real estate empire, Donald Trump. Isn't this funny? I'll bet you love this YouTube. It's like when those assholes from Western banks, old Speed Elder, come waltzing into Judge Russell T. Lloyd's court, and they falsified and faked the collapse and the insolvency of RLG, Rita Lava Betty Group, Westgate Investments, their little holding company up, Western Banks in Houston. They came waltzing in that courtroom and lied about it all. And if you doubt me, why don't you take a look into how they went on a massive global expansion right after they supposedly were broke. So yeah, Donald J. Trump, when are you going to drain that swamp, old chum? What a load of shit. Build the wall. You know what? You want to stop the illegal immigration. Why don't you actually enforce the employment laws? That would be arrest the damned people that are giving them jobs illegally and faking Social Security payments, and they're not taking taxes out of their checks. I lived in Texas for a long time, Donald Trump, 26 years. And those Republican contractors and all those big Republican real estate companies and those great big Republican businesses, they love to hire that inexpensive wetback labor. Just like you, Donald Trump. You see, Mr. Trump, your drain the swamp was nothing more than a load of crap. And William Barr, let's investigate the false, staged, fraudulent insolvency of the Western banks. Former FBI agent Harold Blackshear and Western Banks, Westheimer, and the one there at 1300 Main Street in downtown Houston. Comey and Mueller and Ashcroft and Gonzalez and Meese and Reno. This corruption in the United States has been going on forever. The gangster banksters that launder all that narco dope money and launder the terrorist money and launder the human trafficking and the sex trafficking money like Deutsche Bank, you ought to see the network of money laundering that goes out like a spider's web from Deutsche Bank. Donald Trump's dirty little bankers. Pretty interesting, Donald, how you Well, you do business with the dirtiest damn bankers in the world. Why is that, Donald Trump? Is there something to that? Is that how it's done in Manhattan? It's not the damn Russians, it's these old Nazi, the Third Reich, the old Nazi bankers at Deutsche Bank in Frankfurt. Must have been one hell of a scene, Don Trump, when 500 cops, 500 police officers showed up in November last fall and raided their stinking bank tower. Why don't you ask Baker and Donaldson and Nelson and Mullins down there in old Tennessee? Why don't you ask them about the 500 cops that showed up to, storm and raid Deutsche Bank's headquarters? And while you're at it, you can get senior bankruptcy judge Marcia Phillips and see her response to the giant raid on Deutsche Bank's headquarters. We were in her courtroom there in Greenville telling her what a bunch of douchebag criminals they were in October, and it wasn't 2 or 3 weeks later 500 cops raid your stinking bank, Donald Trump. Now I'm going to end this one because to a lot of people it appears as though I'm ranting and raving. But I'd like to ask the American people, how is it that so much banking crime, so much money, reserve notes, that printed out of nothing, that thin air fiat shit, there's so much of that fiat shit that they can steal and nothing's ever done about it. Isn't that right, Christopher Wray? The FBI sits there and beats their freaking chum, right? Christopher Wray. And I'll be more than happy to talk about this anywhere in the world. Bring a hot news camera. And we can talk, Christopher Wray and William Barr and Donald Trump, about those stinking, rotten, low-life frauds that staged their insolvency at the Western banks. And so that everybody maybe can, do a little research. Look at cause number 198617930, Harris County State District Court, Houston, Texas. Russell T. Lloyd sat on this case when Sewell and Riggs came in with the FDIC and the Texas State Banking Commissioner, and they aided and abetted the fraudulent faked insolvency of one of the wealthiest gang of international bankster gangster mobsters in the history of the world. That's a tip of the hat to old Purple Capital. Look up Purple Capital and Bearing Point, and let's see who else. Oh, the Carlyle Group and KPMG Financial and Western Banks, and what was the name of their freaking computer thing over there? Oh, let me think. It'll come to me here. Atos Origin. They financed a leverage buyout of Atos Origin in Europe when they were so damn insolvent. That's fascinating stuff, isn't it? U.S. Supreme Court. Damn joke. The U.S. Supreme Court is a damned joke. Just like the Just Us Department and these underhanded, treacherous, treasonous scumbags at FBI. Oh, and Don Trump, you're not the only one they've ever screwed over. How about that, Hillary Clinton? Isn't this just fascinating? Ladies and gentlemen, as always, hasta la vista. God bless. Research all the links below and discover that this video is no joke.